Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Home with Heat podcast. I'm your host, Luke, rolling solo today on the hosting. This is a bonus episode because in typical HLE fashion, we overbooked and are all over the place as we prep for Hero Week. But I'm extremely excited to bring back Kirstie Ennis with the Kirstie Ennis Foundation as our guest today. How's it going?
Great. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, definitely a quick follow-up, but I appreciate you carving out the time. But I thought it was kind of timely to get you back on here. Really wanted to kind of talk about, we touched on it on the previous episode. And if you guys haven't listened on that, definitely go check that one out, because Kirstie goes into her whole backstory and everything she went through with the military and her injury and kind of who she's become since. And then that led her to launch her foundation. But if you want to go ahead, Kirstie, and just kind of give us, what is the Kirstie Ennis Foundation? What's your mission? What are you doing? And what's all that look like?
Yeah. So I was injured over in Afghanistan in 2012, sustained some pretty severe injuries. And in 2014, I was actually medically retired from the Marine Corps. And in that moment, I thought my entire life was over. And so I was kind of grabbing at straws, within athletics or academics, stuff to make me feel whole again, something that would make me feel like I could actually continue serving beyond my military service. And in 2018, after supporting tons of other nonprofits, let me be clear on that. In 2018, I decided that I would create the Kirstie Ennis Foundation. And we are 100% volunteer based. I do not take a dime from it. And it's just our way to be able to give back to other individuals. We have a heavy focus on veterans, differently abled veterans, women veterans, combat veterans, and to introduce them to a way of life in the outdoors through recreational therapy. When I got hurt, there were so many traditional therapies and medicines that were thrown at me, and none of them worked. The outdoors is truly what saved my life. And as I went through my recovery, I realized how selfish, is it of me if I was not going to turn around and pay it forward to other people like me? So we host recreational therapy clinics 7 times a year in the Roaring Fork Valley of Colorado. We teach individuals how to snowboard, rock climb, mountain bike, ice climb, water sports, a number of different things. Jiu-jitsu is a new one that we're adding this year. And then just giving them the tools that they need to not only build community, but then also move their bodies and utilize mobility as medicine.
Yeah, when we chatted, I guess a month and a half ago, and you were talking about it, I was like, man, this is kind of perfectly nested with who we are as a company and what our ethos are. And that's one of the big things for me is, as I was looking to transition out of the Army for a long time now, I was just looking at, peers and like my father when he transitioned, and then, you listen to podcasts of all these guys and what they go through. And I was like, I need to get ahead of this. And that's why when I built the company, it was kind of the way for me selfishly to build the glue for my community when I was getting out. And then from there, it was like, okay, this can expand. And we obviously have grown it since for others, but that's really the core ethos is healing and, the mental health aspect through community, the outdoors, which I think is what most of us are lacking, both in the military and the civilian world. I think it's just harder for the military folks because they go from having it so close to then it's just gone. And that's obviously extremely difficult. And then you can combine that with, potential traumas and the other things that go on. And nature just has a way of resetting. It's just extremely calming when you can get out there and just be in the outdoors and see wildlife and have those interactions. And then also having the physical fitness element of it, obviously, your physical health and your mental health are very tightly linked. So I think that the fit for kind of what we're doing within Hero Week, which for those that aren't familiar, listen to the Tuesday episode we just dropped. But Hero Week is 7 days, 7 hero WODs. It's a very difficult week physically and mentally, but it's really to highlight the sacrifices of those heroes that those workouts represent, and then also to them be able to support a cause that we're passionate about, which is what you guys are doing.
Well, thank you. And yeah, to your point, I think it's so hard for anyone when they walk away from the quote unquote brotherhood, whether you're forced into that retirement medically or you've done your 20 or 30 years. There is nothing like going through, just the hardships in day-to-day life that you do in the military, whether you're overseas or not. And then to get thrown into your typical civilian life, it's totally different. And I think one of the things that we can continue pushing to, continue like reinforcing those bonds, or at least like restarting those bonds, is exploring in the outdoors. We're never going to be able to simulate what we experienced overseas. We're never going to be able to simulate things on deployments or training ops on a ship or whatever that looks like. But we can put ourselves into situations where we have to learn together, we have to grow together, and we need one another all over again. And that's what the outdoors provides us. And that's a special kind of healing. So
If you're comfortable with it, can you kind of talk about kind of what you went through on the mental aspect of it as you were, transitioning out and then going through everything you were dealing with the injury? And then obviously that's a massively, both physically and mentally, traumatic event, changes the entire course and trajectory of your entire life. And then, where you were at, and then how you found the healing through these outdoor pursuits.
Yeah. So I was injured on June 23rd, 2012. Just a little more background to it. It was in a helicopter crash in the Helmand province of Afghanistan. To date, I'm actually still sitting in my wheelchair. I am an above the knee amputee. And when I was forced into a medical retirement in 2014, I thought the world had been pulled out from underneath me. I felt robbed of everything. I felt robbed of not only my physical ability, but my memory, my military career, my purpose. I was destroyed, for the last 6 years. Joining the Marine Corps at 17 years old, gave 6 years to it. And now it was being taken from me. I was my world went into a tailspin. And then there was a stranger that came into my hospital room and said, how do you feel about learning a winter sport? And in that moment, I was like, whatever, dude, I'm from Florida. I don't care what it is. It can be anything, curling, snowboarding, just get me out of the hospital. But then what he introduced me to was this whole new confidence that I could go forth and do anything. So I ended up leaving San Diego when I was in the hospital, going to Colorado, and being able to get up right on my own 2 feet and feeling the pressure of the outdoors and recognizing how small we really are and how Mother Nature really, at the end of the day, has the last say. It dictates everything. Was so it put things into perspective. I should still be grateful that I'm here, that I can still live. And it also gave me this kind of confidence that I could, I don't know, explore what's next. And we can overcome not only my physical injuries, but we could also overcome together. We can have these open dialogues and share resources. And that was something that was kind of foreign to me sitting in the hospital. And in all of that, it also, the outdoors gave me my relationship, not necessarily back with my family, but it also, I don't know, I kind of rekindled my trust with them, that I could lean into people again and heal. So the outdoors really was a gift for me. And then once I felt all of that, I just decided that I wanted to turn around and pay it forward. So snowboarding, competing with Team USA, and then it escalating to climbing Everest and a number of different other huge mountains. It's just something that's so, invigorating, and it makes you feel whole, even if you are broken mentally, physically, or emotionally. It gives you the space to feel whole again. So.
Yeah, that definitely resonates with me. Not to the same extent as far as what I've gone through, but just that reset you get bogged down with life and the mundane and, stress, kids, job, not, in my situation, not having a job, right. Jumping into this full time and being able to go and take that moment. It really does. I feel like it's just to my core, just kind of changes where I'm at, and being able to experience that with other people. It's awesome. And that's just it's in our DNA, as humans. And I think we're losing that in modern society. We're the most connected we've ever been through social media. And I'm in this cookie cutter neighborhood in Colorado Springs, and it's my hell. And I know one of my neighbors, and I've lived here for almost 4 years. I've decided if I go to hell, it's going to be living in this neighborhood and then working in a cubicle every day doing the exact same thing. But I think a lot of people feel that, and whether you can do it full time for your career or if it's just your weekend escape, having that outlet is so important. And I just love what you guys are doing. And I really like that it's not 100% catered to veterans, because I think And while that's still a core focus, this is a societal issue that goes beyond just the veteran world.
Well, and yeah, I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit on that, because you said that, like, with social media, we're the most connected that we've ever been. And do we have access to people? Yes. But are we actually making the effort to really connect and reach out to the people that we served with, or the people who might be struggling? Or are we actually asking for help on social media? No. So I would like to encourage anybody that's listening, civilian or veteran or active duty servicemen, men or women, like, reach out to people. Like, just because we have a DD 214 in hand, like, our service to one another is not over. So, like, whether that looks like going out on a hike or even just having, like, those tough conversations, I mean, that's what we need right now. Let's continue growing this community, and again, healing in the outdoors. And we can't do it if somebody extends the hello or the how are you.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I kind of meant that tongue in cheek on, like, we're connected, but we're not actually, like, it's, you have the access and your interactions, but they're super or very superficial. And to your point, like, have, like, our motto for our team member program is find your tribe. And whatever outlet that is, if it's a CrossFit gym, if it's, a hiking club or a bird watching club or whatever your passion is, finding that community of people that you can build real, true relationships. Because even within the military, and it's something that I really started to notice as I built this company, and then while I was active duty, a lot of the my buddy Tyler, was a Marine crew chief, door gunner. He calls it's just trauma bonding. Like, you're in such miserable situations, you get really close with these people, but then when you leave the military, you find out, like, you don't really have anything in common except for those. There's a couple that obviously will last, but most of those relationships are only built around the common denominator of the military. And so if you can find those people where you have those same core values, the same core passions, like, those relationships become even more real. And that's what I've found through what we've built. And I think that um, it's kind of the next level of the relationship to where it becomes a true, like, brotherhood or sisterhood. So yeah, but
Well,
I agree with what you're saying.
well, and I love too. I mean, you mentioned, like, the veteran and just the civilian sectors, like, having those open and honest conversations, because there's so much to learn from both sides. Yeah.
Yes.
Like, we've all experienced different things, and we can all we can all change our perspectives as well once we actually have those conversations. So I love what you guys are doing with Hero Week, just bringing more people together and bringing people into the conversation, and yeah, moving our bodies, and yeah, saying the names of the men and women that we lost. So important.
Talking about Hero Week, what is, from where you're sitting, what does kind of Memorial Day represent and mean to you?
Memorial Day is tough for me, for a number of reasons, because I think there's so much controversy around it right now in our country and in our society, and that, like, Memorial Day is meant just to honor the people who were so brave to lay their life down for the man or woman who stood to their left and right. They were the individuals who actually stepped up to serve, and they were the ones who sacrificed far more than any of us who are still here today ever have or ever will. And it makes me think of their families. And I suffered with survivor's guilt for a long time, kind of like, why me? And saw some of the darkest days. We talked about it on the last podcast. I didn't see a point in reason. I didn't see a reason in living ever again. And when my dad came to me and he said, "You've got to be kidding me," that's when I actually, like, hit pause and looked at my life. And the least that I could do is continue living my life for the men and the women who never made it home. I made it home. I might be broken and I might be messed up and I might still have problems that I have to work through, but I'm still here and I'm still with my family and I can still do things. I can still move. I can still move forward with my life. So everybody here right now, Memorial Day is about honoring them. And it's a day to recognize that they did not die in vain. We should celebrate everything that they did in their life and celebrate everything that they are. Um, and I would also like to drive home the fact that Memorial Day is not Veterans Day. It is not a day to celebrate anyone who served or Armed Forces Day or anything like that. It is about strictly honoring the men and the women who were so brave to lay their life down for total strangers, to protect those who could not protect themselves. And we should honor and respect all of their sacrifices.
Yeah, I don't have anything to follow that up with, Kirstie. I think you hit the nail on the head there. Where can
Sorry,
everybody?
that was a
No, I
little
think
sassy. So you
no,
can edit that out if you want, but I'm very
no,
passionate.
I think it's great. I think it's great, and I think it's really important because it's bothered me forever. My family, like extended family, will thank me on Memorial Day, and you feel it puts you know us in a weird position because like they're obviously coming at it from a place of love and appreciation, but it's like this isn't about this. Like it's about those that didn't come home, that paid that ultimate price, and there's nothing that compares to that, right? That everything, like their children, and now that I'm a father, it's even harder as I look at that and the guys that I know that haven't made it home. And this year, some of the workouts that we selected are from guys that our guys know and served with. My cousin and Derek served with one of the guys and so it just makes it even more real for us. And yeah, I think it's just really important that people do know, and it's not a an error on their part necessarily, or a bad thing. It's just ignorance, and letting them know that, okay, this is for these guys and gals, not for those that are still here, because we're might be a little bit broken, but we're okay, and we can still get after it. And it's the people that can't that we really need to honor with this weekend and this week. And that's why when I first did this, it was me. I had not been training. I did Murph, and I just kind of wanted to beat myself up a little bit. And I was like, I'm going to do a 5 days of hero workouts, and really like think about it. And as I wanted to quit because I wasn't in good shape, it was just like I just kept looking at their pictures, and I was like, really, you're gonna quit a workout in your garage where you're gonna be done in 20-30 minutes? And I think that it's just grounding, and it, yeah, it, and that's what the folks that are going to be going through this, I really want you guys to look at that and look at their stories, watch the videos, read about them, and think about who they left behind and use that as the fuel, and if you got to scale back, that's fine, right? Like we don't want anybody to get injured, but don't quit. Like that's the whole point of this, is to do this and to have a small little bit of struggle for 7 days. It's 7 days as a way to like pay homage to what they've went through and gone through and what their families are still going through every single day.
Well, that is so well said. And then I would just also encourage people, like, after you're riding that high of finishing that workout and thinking about the individual that you're honoring, look at the people who just did the workout with you and ask them questions, especially if they're a veteran. If you're curious about something, again, like, start facilitating that bond, those conversations about understanding one another, whether you're a civilian or you're a veteran or you're Army, Air Force, whatever that looks like. Start utilizing this as a space to come together and support those that we lost, support the families, support the individuals who might need the resources. Like, there's so much more to this. And I mean, I would like to be able to say that, like, the guys that we lost, they're looking down right now. I mean, they're in the cabin overhead, and what better way to honor them by bringing people together? So,
Yeah, that was also very well said. I know you're busy and you've got a engagement, so we'll wrap it up. I think we hit the nail on the head for what we needed to do here. Where can everybody find more about the Kirstie Ennis Foundation?
well, so yeah, again, real original name, Kirstieennis Foundation. So you can find us on Instagram, Twitter, or X, I guess now, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And we should have information on all of those platforms about our veteran-based clinics.
Awesome. And then we're going to drop the links in the show notes for the sign up and registration for Hero Week. This will drop on, I think we said Saturday. Worst case, it'll be Sunday. So you guys can still sign up. We're doing some different stuff this year. So t-shirt, like always, is part of the registration. And then we're doing entries for daily giveaways. We have some awesome sponsors that have come on, which I would really love to thank. We've got Kafaru, Taurus, tethered, wilderness athlete, bow hitch. Check my list, make sure. There's been a lot going on today. And then Onyx, last but not least, Onyx have all been very gracious and have backed this. So we're going to do a daily giveaway so you can buy more entries. All the proceeds are going to the Kirstie Ennis Foundation. And there's also a GoFundMe link that will be posted. Highly encourage you guys to reach out to your own networks, family, friends, and try to, one, get participation. But if they're not, able or willing to jump in, see if they'll do some pledges, and so we can raise even more money. So you'll have the GoFundMe as an outlet for that as well. And that'll go also directly back to the foundation. But we appreciate what you're doing, Kirstie, and everything you've been through, and the perseverance, and it's motivating. I mean, we finished the episode last time, and Carter and I were like, God, we've got no fucking excuses. Like we gotta do what we need to do, for sure.
No, I appreciate it, and yeah, again, grateful for the opportunity, and just really glad to see that there's more like-minded people out there. I hope that we can continue aligning and supporting our military, our heroes, and doing the good things out there.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we're gonna wrap up this one. We're gonna, if you're good with it, we'll post that video. Yeah. So Kirstie's got actually, you want to just touch on that real quick? You can describe it better than I can, kind of what that video is.
So sort of rush out of here, but I'm actually en route up to Washington, D.C. I am very grateful for the opportunity to be one of the hosts of the 35th Annual National Memorial Day Concert. So what we're going to share with you guys is a 2-minute overview of a little bit of my backstory, but how I continued to fight through all of my injuries and everything and honor our fallen.
Perfect. We'll wrap this one up and then hit the video. But as always, we appreciate the hell out of you guys. Talk to you next week.
When you deploy in any role with your unit, there are bonds and ties that are strengthened. Those are friendships that can never be broken. The deployment that I was injured on, I had never had something as traumatic as this situation happened to me before.
Mentally and emotionally, I was prepared to be a below the knee amputee, and I lost my knee.
I fought to get better, and I fought to overcome my injuries because I was still of the mindset that I was going to go back to my guys. I ended up having to take the medical retirement, and that's when I got hard. It wasn't just the leg. I lost that military career. I lost that purpose. So what was I left to do? Like, I didn't see a way out, and I didn't see a point in living anymore. I do think of the people we lost, whether I was close to them or not, whether they were total strangers and I just heard the story, or I think about their families, I think about their kids, I think about their brothers, their parents. If there's one thing I can do with my life, is to keep honoring them and keep moving forward, and to continue trying to overcome the deep, dark stuff, the physical injuries, because there's a lot of people out there who don't have those loved ones anymore. Make sure that they did not die in vain. Memorial Day, it is a day to be able to reflect, to celebrate their lives, and to remember everything that they accomplished, to remember how they impacted our lives and how brave they were, to actually be one of the individuals who did step up to put their life on the line for the rest of us. Whether we lost them overseas or we lost them as they battled their own demons when we came home, say their name, share their story, find the pictures, find the uniforms, find the memories, say their name. They are looking down at us, so live for them.